Hey, what is up YouTube? OpTic here bringing you another video. Today we're going to be going over my predictions for the upcoming Gears of War Pro Circuit Las Vegas Open. This is a starting at $250,000 prize pool tournament, the arguably biggest tournament of the game so far and the last tournament of season 1. So we're going to go ahead, talk about the pools, talk about my predictions, and just hop right into this, starting with pool A, which is our pool: OpTic Gaming, Ghost Gaming, Enigma 6, and then the open bracket team. Now this is the, I don't know which time, how many times in a row that we have gotten Enigma 6 in our pool. It seems to happen almost every single event we play them in pool play, except for Paris. So unlucky there. But Enigma 6 is a new roster, remember. So this is a pretty good team. We've actually got a really good pool with Ghost Gaming and Enigma 6. So obviously, you know our roster. There's no changes. We did really well in Paris. We've also got Ghost Gaming keeping their same roster of Sleepy, Rushies, Keem, Drakes, and Speedy. So a very talented roster. We did play them in Paris, and we beat them 7-6 on Foundation, 7-1 on Impact. E6 we did not play in Paris, and they've got a slightly different roster than their Paris roster, which actually performed pretty well. They've now got the roster of Eternity, Excels, Soto, Hesitations, and Frag Out, who is replacing Hudson's. So this is a pretty good team. This is a really strong pool, arguably the pool of death for whichever open bracket team gets placed in here. And I honestly don't see there being an open bracket team that could take down any of these teams. Obviously, I'm confident in my guys. I think we're going to be able to beat Ghost Gaming and Enigma 6. We've have a good track record against both teams. And in that head-to-head matchup, Ghost Gaming has the history of doing well. Enigma 6 has the newer roster. Now, this E6 roster is very close to, if those of you who remember the Columbus Open tournament way back at the beginning of the season, the Bot Empire team. This roster is very similar. You've got Excels, you've got Soto, you've got Frag Out. Who knows? It could be a good turnout for them, but I'm going to give it to Ghost Gaming. I'm going to say they're going to go 1-1. I'm going to say E6 is going to go 0-2. And actually, we can change this up because I will include the open bracket teams, I guess. So we're going to go 3-0. Ghost Gaming is going to go 2-1. And I think Enigma 6 is actually going to go, 1-2. And this poor team, 0-3. That's my prediction for Pool A. Let's go ahead and move down to Pool B. This is where you've got Team Envious, Allegiance, and Vitality. And then whatever open bracket team comes out of open bracket. Envy, same roster as before. Fran, Toy, Praise, J-Ribs, Solars. Allegiance, making a little bit of a change. They got rid of Giraffe. And they picked up Rezik. So now they're rocking Kraz, Jerpy, Gwish, Shock, and Rezik. And then Vitality, I don't know if they've made any changes, but that's Zorkos, Baghdad, Strikers, Keeney, and Fi. Honestly, it's sad for me to say, but Vitality is the weakest team in this group. Depending on what open bracket team comes out of open bracket into this pool, there is a chance that they would lose that. Vitality does not have a good track record against top North American teams, and I think there are teams like Panda Gaming who could get placed into this group and take games off Vitality. So I'm going to give it to Envious, 3-0 in their group. They've got no offense to those teams, they've got a relatively easy group based on track record. That being said, Allegiance does have a history of knocking Team Envious out of the groove. They beat them in London twice, knocked them into losers bracket, then knocked them out of the tournament. So, but that was a very different Allegiance than the one we see here. So who knows what will happen. Allegiance I have being way better than Vitality. I honestly think Vitality is not going to do well, especially if they get Panda Gaming in this group. And I don't think Panda or any other open bracket team will be able to beat either of these two teams. So that is my prediction for this group, with these two teams advancing into the championship bracket. And I didn't show it for the first one, but obviously I have ourselves and Ghost Gaming advancing into the championship bracket. So on to Pool C. This is a very interesting group to me. We have E United, Splice, and Pedro Juan Jose, which is a completely different Pedro Juan Jose than we're used to. It is also not the same as Fire and Ice. It is a completely new team using the same name. Well, not completely new. They've got some of the same players, but let's go ahead and take a look at this group. We have Lava, Demo, Dispensa, Godplays, Zerpting on E United. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the community right now, E United has been having a lot of internal issues getting leaked on Twitter. There were screenshots of DMs, I believe from Lava's perspective, that got leaked, and where it showed arguments of him and Godplays maybe not wanting to team together and Demo trying to resolve that. There's also the issue of recently, as in a few days ago, Demo accidentally leaving his stream on and him and Dispensa talking about basically not liking their teammates, not liking Godplays, not liking Zerpting, and saying Lava was a catfish in scrims, as well as talking about APPAREL use. Not going to go into that, not my business, and I frankly don't care, but the point is E United is having a lot of internal issues. Now, will those issues affect them on LAN? I would say yes. It's going to be hard to sit there and perform sitting next to people you don't trust or don't even like. So I don't see the United roster doing well. They didn't do well in Paris, at least arguably for what people thought they would do. So I don't see them actually performing too well in this group. And this will probably be the group where I make a pretty bold prediction. Splice, obviously, your runners up in Paris, #2 team in the world, so to say, right now. Desinite Identives involving Adverse and Chaos. And then Pedro Juan Jose is Karils, Wildebeest, and Noxious, so very familiar names. And then Xenon and Firearm, who I believe were both on the previous Pedro Juan Jose, aka Fire and Ice. So, in this pool, I honestly don't think United's going to do well except against maybe the open bracket team. I'm going to have them going 1-3. Too many internal issues, too bad of a previous performance. I just don't have faith in that roster right now. Splice, I could see doing really well. I'm going to give them 3-0 in their pool, and I'm going to give Pedro Juan Jose 2-1. I think they're going to beat the matchup against United. I think they're going to lose the Splice, and I think they'll beat the open bracket team, and I think the open bracket team will go 0-3. Even if it was Panda Gaming, I don't think they would beat United, just because I don't think United is at the point mentally where they would let themselves basically go 0-3 in groups. But who knows? And that one is kind of rocky. Either way, I have these two teams, Splice and Pedro Juan Jose, making it out of this pool in the championship bracket. I know, crazy prediction. I can't wait to see all the butthurt comments, but that's my opinion. Last but not least, we have Pool D. Speaking of which, Echo Fox, Frank getting on, or Bull. Pool D, we have Echo Fox, Epsilon, and World's Best. So this is Echo Fox's same roster: Kyle, Clouts, Franco, Crash, and Crushmo. Epsilon, Phelpsy, Hydrone, Craze, Sam, J, Rage, which I believe is the same as in Paris. And then we have World's Best, which is kind of like this conglomerate of people you've seen around, names you recognize coming together. Giraffe, Yogurt, Hudson, Strangulate, and Witchy. Witchy, kind of a younger amateur talent. Strangulate, been around forever. You guys know who he is. Hudson's coming off of the E6. Giraffe coming off of Allegiance. And Yogurt coming off of a little bit of a break, basically. Okay, so in this group, I was impressed by Epsilon's performance in Paris. And I think that if Epsilon can keep up that same level of performance, I could see them doing well against World Best and that being a very close game. I mean, Epsilon put up a fight against a lot of people in Paris. So Echo Fox, I see being the dominant team in this group, especially. I don't think that their Paris performance was reflective of how they are as a team. So I'm going to give them the 3-0 in their group, and I don't think any open bracket team will beat them. This is the matchup that is very tough for me to predict, because I think that one could go either way. World's Best has a talented roster, but I don't think they mesh too well. Epsilon has been together. They're experienced now. They have a little, experience together, and I think I might have to give it to them just based on that fact that they have been together a little bit longer than the World's Best roster being completely new together. World's Best I have going 1-3 because I think they'll beat whatever team comes out of open bracket, and open bracket team I have going 0-3. So obviously coming out of this bracket, Epsilon and Echo Fox. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of bracket this would make. I believe I have done this right, where you have the #1 seed from Pool A playing the #2 seed from Pool C. And so that would be us, OpTic Gaming, and based on my predictions, Pedro, Juan, Jose. And as much as I have respect for those guys, I'm going to have to give it to us over them. And then you have the #2 seed from Group B versus the #1 seed from Group D. So that's Allegiance and Echo Fox based on my predictions. And I have to give it to Echo Fox in this matchup, which means I think for the first time ever, we would be playing Echo Fox on LAN, actually. I think this is the first time that we've ever played them. Envy versus Epsilon. I have Envy winning that matchup. I don't think they've ever lost to Epsilon, lost a map even. I don't remember how the Paris matchup went, but I'm pretty sure that it was pretty one-sided for Envy. Splice versus Ghost Gaming. This would be a very interesting matchup, and this one would be really, really hard to predict. My reason for this is Splice was hot in Paris. They were performing really well, like out of their minds even, and they're playing a new style of game for them. So if they can do that again, they could take down Ghost Gaming. That being said, Ghost Gaming, their mentality basically makes or breaks that team. If Ghost Gaming is feeling themselves and they're feeling the morales are high, basically, they're pretty hard to beat. But if they're kind of down on themselves, if they're beating themselves up mentally, if they're arguing with each other, which they have a tendency to do, then Splice can easily take that win. So this one will be a really close matchup. For the sake of previous placements, I believe Ghost Gaming has the more consistent high placements. Obviously, they had 2 back-to-back third places. But based on the most recent tournament, which is the most recent information I have to go off of, Splice outperformed them. So I'm going to give it to Splice. And I did this kind of a weird way, but you guys get the picture. So that would leave us versus Echo Fox. I'm not doing the losers bracket, disclaimer, by the way. Us versus Echo Fox in the semifinals of the winners bracket. I'm going to give it to us, but I think it'll be a close series. I think Echo Fox is a really good team, and we've never really played them on LAN, though when we play them online, we usually do fairly well. Envy versus Splice, the epic losers bracket from Paris rematch. I love Splice. I think Splice could beat Envy again. Envy didn't play like themselves in Paris. I don't think that if this matchup happens, Envy will let that loss happen again. Another factor to consider is Envy was fresh off of losing to us. It's relatively fresh off of losing to us, so they could have been tilted. And they have a curse when playing in Europe. So I'm going to give this one to Envy on my prediction. Even though Splice most recently performed better, Envy is just too consistent of a strong team. Now, that being said, Splice has been grinding hard in practices since Paris. Envy has had a little bit of off time. Will that affect these placements? I don't know. Envy is also boot camping right before this event, so that could affect the placements. But for sake of consistency, I'm going to give it to Envy. Us versus Envy in the winners bracket finals, I'm going to give it to us, because I believe in my team, and I think that we can come out on top in that matchup, even though Envy usually gives us really great games, and it makes the series really entertaining for you guys to watch. But those are my winners bracket and my predictions for this tournament. Let me know what you guys think of these predictions, who you have winning the entire thing, what teams you're rooting for. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I will see you all in the next one.